We found an ancient scroll buried beneath a forgotten temple in the Himalayas. It wasn't part of any religion. It didn't belong to any culture. It spoke of a phenomenon so powerful that every spiritual master who experienced it vanished from society and lived in total silence for the rest of their lives. It's called the lost quantum leap, and what it unlocks is so beyond comprehension that it doesn't just change your beliefs. It obliterates your entire perception of reality in less than a second. So we decided to test it. We gathered a team of seekers, mystics and skeptics, locked ourselves away in absolute isolation, and followed the exact instructions encoded in the scroll. What happened next cannot be explained. But if you're still watching, it means your soul is ready to remember something it's been waiting lifetimes to access. The leap began with a whisper barely audible but undeniable. A frequency we couldn't place. It wasn't sound. It was more like a vibration moving through everything, including us. Our breath slowed, our minds stopped, and then, suddenly, perception shattered. You know that feeling just before you fall asleep, when your thoughts dissolve and you begin to drift. Imagine that, but infinitely deeper, sharper, and more alive. In that moment, we weren't individuals anymore. We were awareness itself, seeing reality from a vantage point that had no beginning and no end. They don't tell you this in books or retreats. Real expansion doesn't feel like a gentle awakening. It feels like death, not physical death, but the crushing disappearance of everything you thought was real. Your name, your story, your traumas, your ambitions, they all vanished like mist in sunlight. And in their place is silence. Not empty silence, but intelligent, vibrant, living stillness. This is the lost quantum leap. It doesn't give you more. It erases the illusion that you ever lacked anything in the first place.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
So why is it lost? Because it requires something our modern world fears more than anything: total surrender. Not partial, not temporary, total. You can't fake it. You can't perform it. You have to give up the entire scaffolding of your identity and trust that what remains will be enough. And that's terrifying for the ego. That's why the leap is so rare. It's not because it's difficult. It's because very few are willing to let go of their control long enough for the truth to reveal itself. We were trained to believe that transformation takes years, that we need to meditate for a decade, chant mantras, climb mountains, purify our karma. But what if I told you that none of that is strictly necessary? What if the leap isn't something you achieve, but something you allow? The shift into expanded awareness is not about doing, it's about undoing. It's about removing everything that blocks the signal of your true self from coming online. And the signal is always ready. It's you who must turn toward it. There's a reason this leap is often triggered in moments of extreme crisis: car accidents, near-death experiences, sudden loss. These moments strip away the ego's grip and expose the raw, unfiltered truth underneath. But you don't have to wait for a crisis. You can choose to leap right now, not physically, but vibrationally. You can sit in stillness, close your eyes and ask, what am I holding onto that's keeping me small? What would happen if I released it fully, without hesitation? The answer is not an idea. It's an experience. And that experience changes everything. When you drop into the field beyond thought, time collapses. You could be sitting for 5 minutes, but it feels like eternity. You're not escaping, you're arriving. You begin to see that the mind has been filtering reality your entire life, only showing you what fits your beliefs and biases. But the leap dissolves the filter. Suddenly you're perceiving directly, not with the eyes, but with consciousness itself. And what you see is not separate from you, it is you. This is not a metaphor. This is physics. Quantum mechanics already tells us that the observer affects the observed, and that particles behave differently when measured. That reality is not fixed, but fluid, responsive to attention. So what happens when you stop observing with the mind and start observing from pure awareness? Reality bends, possibility expands, miracles normalize. You are no longer reacting to life, you are co-creating it in real time. Most people ask, how do I get there? But that's still the mind talking. The real question is, what's in the way of me already being there? Because awareness is not something you attain. It's what you are. Right now. Always. It's just buried under layers of identity, conditioning and fear. The leap is not a journey forward. It's a return inward. And the path is made of presence. Try this. The next time you're overwhelmed, angry or lost, pause. Don't fix it. Don't analyze it. Just feel it, or fully. Let it wash over you without resistance. What you'll notice is that underneath the emotion is stillness, and inside that stillness is a doorway. That doorway is the leap. It won't announce itself. It won't wait for permission. It appears the moment you become empty enough to receive it. But the leap doesn't care about your past. It doesn't care about your goals. It doesn't care about your spiritual resume. It only responds to one thing: authenticity. If you are willing to show up raw, real, and ready to let the old version of you dissolve, the leap will meet you. But you have to stop pretending. You have to stop performing. You have to stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to be who you already are. You may be wondering, if this leap is so powerful, why don't more people talk about it? The answer is simple, because once you experience it, words feel inadequate. The mind can't describe what the soul knows. And most people who touch it go silent, not out of secrecy, but out of reverence. Because the leap isn't something you teach. It's something you transmit, through presence and through energy, through the way you exist and move in the world. That's why we're making this video, not to explain the leap, but to broadcast its frequency. So that as you watch, something deep within you starts to awaken. Not because we're saying anything new, but because you're finally ready to hear what's always been true. You are not broken. You are not separate. You are not too late. You are the field. You are the leap. And you've never been closer to it than you are right now. So let me ask you something. What would you have to let go of in order to expand instantly? What belief? What identity? What fear? And if you could drop it, just for a moment, what might you see on the other side? That's the question this video is here to ask, not with words, but with vibration. Because the leap doesn't come through knowledge. It comes through knowing. When we stepped beyond the veil for the first time, it wasn't with a bang, it was more like the quietest possible explosion inside our awareness. No lights, no angels, no grand visions. Just a deep and irreversible recognition. Everything we had been taught to believe about ourselves was a distortion. Every identity, every label, every I am this statement was just a costume wrapped around silence. And in that silence, we discovered something we never expected. We were never separate. Not from each other, not from truth, not from source. That realization didn't come with euphoria. It came with stillness so profound that it made every distraction in the world seem laughably small. But the leap doesn't always show up the way you expect. For some, it's triggered by heartbreak. For others, it's the birth of a child, the death of a loved one, or even a moment of total boredom so deep that consciousness finally snaps free of its loops. The leap arrives when your system is no longer able to maintain the illusion. And when it does, it's not gentle. It rips through your narratives like lightning through a forest. You don't get to bring your stories with you. You don't get to negotiate. You simply become. And in that becoming, you realize you were never trying to awaken, you were trying to remember what you already knew. You start to notice how everything you experience is filtered through layers, mental stories, emotional reactions, cultural programming, subconscious beliefs. But the leap wipes those filters clean, even if only for a moment. And in that moment, you see reality as it is, not as you've been taught to see it. You see the subtle energy fields around people. You feel the unspoken pain in the room. You hear the difference between someone's words and their vibration. And most of all, you feel the infinite web of intelligence that holds everything together. You are no longer a visitor in this world, you are this world, waking up to itself. But here's the truth most people don't want to face. The leap costs everything you think you are. It costs your comfort, your predictability, even your success if it's rooted in ego. But the leap will take your illusions and burn them at the altar of expansion. And you'll be left wondering who you are without your roles, your achievements, your trauma, your pain. That's the void. That terrifying space where the old has crumbled, but the new hasn't fully arrived. Most people run from the void. But if you can sit in it, if you can surrender to it, you'll find that it's not empty. It's pregnant with potential. The void is the hallway between the doors of identity. And the longer you can stay in that hallway without rushing to define yourself again, the more profound your leap will be. Because in that space, you're no longer reacting, you're recalibrating. You're not just letting go of the past. You're becoming the frequency of the future. And that future is not a timeline, it's a state of being. The leap is not about getting somewhere. It's about becoming so aligned with truth that reality reshapes itself around you. So let me ask you, who are you when you're not trying to be anyone? What remains when you stop performing? What truths emerge when you stop numbing, scrolling, escaping, fixing, striving? These are not questions for your intellect. They are invitations to surrender, to peel back the layers of false self and meet the raw, wild, infinite presence that lives just beneath the surface. But that presence is not separate from the leap, it is the leap. And every time you rest in it, even for a breath, you are quantum leaping without even moving. This is why the leap seems so elusive, because it's not about doing more. It's about being less filtered, less armored, less identified. And in that lessness, you remember your vastness, because awareness doesn't need to be improved. It just needs to be unblocked. The leap is not the end of a journey. It's the recognition that there never was a journey. There was only consciousness dreaming itself into limitation so it could awaken to its own infinity. And when the leap happens, you don't become enlightened. You become ordinary in the most sacred way. You stop trying to impress. You stop trying to convince. You realize that everything you were searching for was already here, hidden in plain sight. Love, peace, clarity, connection. It was never outside of you. It was just buried under layers of noise. The leap is the moment the noise stops. And when it does, you hear the universe breathing through you. You may find yourself crying for no reason, laughing at how hard you tried to become what you already were, feeling compassion for every version of you that thought they were unworthy. That's the integration. That's the nervous system reconfiguring itself to hold more light, more truth, more you. And it's not always graceful. Your body may shake, memories may resurface, relationships may fall away. This is not destruction, it's realignment. Your external world is catching up to your internal shift. And it's here, right here, where most people turn back. Because the leap demands trust, not blind trust, but embodied trust. The kind of trust that says, even if I lose everything I thought defined me, I will still be whole. That level of trust can't be faked. It has to be lived. It has to be tested. And every test you face is not a punishment, it's a portal. A chance to choose alignment over comfort, presence over pattern, truth over illusion. You'll know you've leapt when life stops being about getting somewhere and starts being about being here. Really here, fully present, fully open, fully surrendered. And in that presence, you'll begin to create from a different frequency. You won't manifest from lack. You'll magnetize from wholeness. You won't force outcomes. You'll flow with intelligence that's greater than your mind. And life will start to feel less like a battle and more like a dance. You'll begin to speak less and listen more, not just to others, but to the subtle guidance that's always been whispering within you. Synchronicities will increase, time will stretch and bend. You'll notice that your thoughts manifest faster, your intuition sharpens, your desires purify, and your very presence becomes medicine. Not because you're trying to be spiritual, but because you're finally being real. And when you meet others who have leapt, you'll recognize them instantly, not by what they say, but by how they see. There's a stillness in their gaze, a fire in their silence, a frequency in their presence that says, I've touched the infinite, and I've returned to tell you it's real. These are your mirrors, your allies, and your reminders, and being around them will activate parts of you that you forgot existed. Let me ask you again, what are you still holding on to that you know deep down is ready to be released? What identity, belief, or attachment is keeping you small? And what would happen if you let it go, not tomorrow, not later, but now? These are not rhetorical questions. They are keys, and the door they unlock is the leap itself. The leap doesn't wait. It doesn't ask for your schedule. It arrives when your soul is ready, not when your mind is. And right now, in this moment, your soul may be whispering, it's time, not to become someone new, but to remember who you've always been beneath the noise. There's a moment after the leap where everything feels surreal. Not because you're disconnected, but because you're finally connected in a way that makes the old world look like a dream. The noise, the striving, the constant reaching, it all feels distant, like a movie you used to believe was real. And now, you're standing on the other side of the screen. You're not just watching life, you're in it. You're breathing the same breath that moves galaxies. You're walking with the awareness that every step is both ancient and brand new. And the strangest part? Life becomes simple. Not easy, but simple. Because when you're not pretending, avoiding, or controlling, every moment becomes exactly what it is, nothing more, nothing less. But this simplicity is sacred. It's not about renunciation. It's about alignment. You begin to speak only when words are needed. You act only when action is true. You no longer chase energy, you hold it. You no longer seek validation, you offer presence. And people feel it. They may not understand why they feel peace around you, or why their guard drops, or why they suddenly start crying without knowing why. But it's because you've become a mirror, not of who they think they are, but of who they really are. Unfiltered awareness, reflecting awareness. That's the power of the leap. It doesn't just change your life, it becomes a transmission that changes others. You start to notice that your body is more than a vessel. It's a frequency tuner, a compass, or a living antenna. Every sensation becomes a message. Every emotion becomes a teacher. Pain is no longer an enemy, it's information. Fear is no longer a block, it's a signal. You begin to trust your body's wisdom more than your mind's logic. You eat differently. You sleep differently. You move differently. Not because someone told you to, but because alignment demands it. Your body starts to ask for stillness, for light, for truth. And you listen not out of discipline, but out of devotion. Devotion becomes your default state, not to a deity, but to presence, and to life itself. You wake up each day not to conquer, but to receive. You stop asking, what do I need to do today? And start asking, how can I align with truth in this moment? And the answers come. Sometimes in whispers, sometimes in waves, but always with clarity. Because when you're no longer clouded by the noise of who you thought you were, life speaks clearly. You may find that people start leaving your life, not because you're better than them, but because your frequency no longer matches the dynamics you once maintained. Some of these goodbyes will be painful, others will be silent, but all of them are sacred. Because the leap doesn't just elevate you, it recalibrates your entire field. And anything that's not in resonance with your truth will either rise to meet you or fall away. That's not rejection, that's realignment. The leap teaches you that truth is not always comfortable, but it's always clean. It doesn't leave residue. It doesn't create confusion. It cuts through illusion with the precision of light. And once you start living from that level of clarity, you'll never settle for distortion again. You'll feel it in your gut when something is off. You'll sense it in someone's words when they're not speaking from soul. You'll catch yourself when you're slipping into old patterns. And you'll choose differently, not from fear, but from freedom. Freedom becomes your new baseline. Not the freedom to do whatever you want, but the freedom to be who you truly are in every moment. And that kind of freedom can't be bought. It can't be taught. It can only be embodied. And once you've tasted it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. You'll wonder why you ever dimmed your light just to be accepted. Why you ever said yes when your whole being was screaming no. Why you ever waited for permission to be what you already are. Let me ask you something deeply personal. If you truly knew that you were infinite, eternal, and completely supported by the intelligence of the universe, what would you stop doing today? What would you finally walk away from? What would you finally walk toward? And if the answer scares you, good. That means it's real. That means it's the doorway. That means the leap is right there, waiting for you to step into it. You start to realize that fear is not the enemy of the leap. Fear is the threshold. It's the final guardian. And when you face it not with force, but with presence, it dissolves. Because fear is only powerful when you believe its story. But when you meet it with stillness, it loses its grip. And beyond it, you find excitement, aliveness, expansion. You realize that fear and freedom are two sides of the same door. And the key is your willingness to open it. This is where the leap becomes sustainable. Not just a moment of awakening, but a way of living. You begin to build your life from a different blueprint. You don't chase purpose, you become it. You don't seek love, you express it. You don't try to change the world, you anchor a new frequency into it just by existing. And that frequency is contagious. It spreads quietly, powerfully, authentically. Because people don't need more advice. They need more examples. They need to see what it looks like when someone actually lives the leap. But you might be wondering, what if I lose everything? And truthfully, you might. But you'll gain something far more valuable, yourself. The real you. Not the version shaped by survival. Not the version sculpted by society. But the raw, wild, luminous truth of your being. And once that version takes the lead, life stops being a struggle. It becomes a sacred unfolding. A dance between you and the infinite. There's nothing left to prove, nothing left to fix, nothing left to chase. Only this, the moment. And the moment is everything. In it, you'll find the answers you've been seeking. In it, you'll hear the wisdom your soul has been whispering for years. In it, you'll feel the presence of everything that ever was and ever will be, converging into now. And now is where the leap lives. Not in the future, not in the past, right here, right now. So what happens at the end of the leap? You become the leap itself. You stop navigating transformation, you are transformation. Walking through the world as a living portal, a breathing invitation, a reminder that there is another way to live, a way that's not bound by fear or time or identity, a way that feels like truth, like love or like home. That's what this has all been about. Not views, not virality, but remembrance. You didn't find this video by accident. You were guided here by a version of you that already knows, already sees, already is. So take a breath, feel your feet on the ground, and say silently in your heart, I'm ready, ready to lose what's false, ready to become what's real, ready to live the leap not as a destination, but as a way of being. And when you do, the universe will respond, not with fireworks, but with frequency. And the right people will appear, the right opportunities will open, and life will begin to move around you like you've entered a new timeline, because you have. The leap is not just a moment, it's a new operating system, one that runs on truth, trust, and total presence. And now, it's yours.